The abduction of Ruth Lassen and her 2 daughters is something that we can't tolerate.
Missing for a week is not evidence of an abduction. I need a crime scene, witnesses.
It's evidence enough for the press. These stories are driving visitors away in droves.
A dip in tourism doesn't justify the expense of VCTF resources.
So what will you give me for free?
The number to the Sacramento field office.
My support for your profile?
You need damage control. I have a congressional budget hearing at the end of the month. I could use someone like you in my corner.
My position on law enforcement spending is a matter of public record.
People have been known to change their minds. Work with us. See what we do. Maybe your position will soften. Agent Burke. The congresswoman needs a profile.
Based on this?
Hypothetically.
Well, hypothetically, we're probably looking at a white male, aged 24 to 32 years old. He's familiar with the area, suggesting a local inhabitant. He's a loner, with no significant relationships in his life, allowing him to come and go without being noticed. He's careful not to do anything to call attention to himself.
Preying on the weak and the innocent, unable to stop or control his urges.
Killing again and again without remorse until he's either caught or dies. Hypothetically. One-room efficiency, washer, dryer, new appliances, $550 a month. First and last month's rent and references.
Yeah, but they never checked those.
You bailed out on your last apartment, only 3 months' rent.
We'll leave that one off. I'm kidding. Come on, look, I'm gonna come clean here. Just fail to the first of the month, and I'll be out by then. Can't hurt to look.
Agent Burke.
The charred remains of 2 bodies were found inside Yosemite National Park.
2? I thought we were looking for 3.
Identities haven't been established. The bodies were too far gone.
So much for my profile. Will she be coming with us?
The congresswoman will be advised of our progress. See you on the plane.
Right. I'm sorry, Danny.
Right. We're not going.
Okay, I just can't right now. I can't. I'm sorry.
I can take him. Great. Knew I liked this guy, huh? Huh? I gotta go. Okay. I'm late for group. Huh?
Yeah, I knew I liked this guy, too. Hey, thanks for helping me break in my kitchen the other night.
Yeah, in the hallway, living room. You have a bedroom, don't you?
Well, you're just gonna have to come over and find out. It's a very big place. Unlike this $550 a month.
That's all he can afford. You can't co-sign a lease for him, Rachel. You give him a safety net like that, and he'll dive right into it.
George. We've taken primary on a case in Northern California. I want you with us.
Please let me handle my end of it from here.
I want you with us, George.
Okay, Bailey. They canceled me, so I made another appointment.
For a month from now.
That was their first available.
First available is what you get when you fail to mention the drug addiction that's affecting your work and destroying your life. You've lied about this long enough, George. The alternative is something neither one of us wants to consider.
identified the vehicle from the VIN number. Rented to a Ruth Lassen. She and her daughters were staying at the Mill Valley Lodge about 6 miles outside of town, along Highway 108.
How far from the main road are we?
I don't know, maybe a mile and a quarter. You'd have to know this area to know this spot was even here. Oh, we got a little biker problem.
Drug use?
I'd strongly imagine, yes.
I'll get with the Mariposa and Tuolumne County Sheriff's Office. Build a list of local offenders.
Nick marks around the sternum. Knife wounds. Pregnancy is keeping Grace grounded for a while. I'll get the remains back to her for identification. I'll need a chopper.
Yeah, I got one on call.
Evidence collected will be transported to the FBI lab in Washington.
It's a good thing your new friend didn't deal away her entire congressional stance on my profile.
Converting Karen Archer into a fan could make a big difference.
Oh, that's what those looks were for, huh? Taking one for the team?
Oh.
Bailey, I was way off. This was not done by somebody who wants to be ignored. This was done by someone who was screaming for attention. Led us right to the bodies.
Don't overlook the empirical. A hangout for bikers could be the results of drugs, alcohol. An all-night binge that led to ritual and violence.
Or it's someone who knew that's what we'd think. I mean, if they're burning evidence, why leave all this?
They had reservations for 3 nights. They mentioned they might drive over to Big Sur for the day. Left their things in the room, so I assume that's what they did.
I'll need a copy of your guest registry, going back 3 weeks.
Give me that.
First, just will you two stop it?
Mom, give that back.
We try to respect the privacy of our guests.
Questions will be kept to information they may have about the abductions.
Did you hear any arguing or fighting coming from their room?
No, ma'am. I hardly knew they were there. The place is just like they left.
The room was clean.
We didn't know anything was wrong.
Did you see them leave?
No.
So they could have left the night before.
Look, you know when I'm going to be able to turn the place over?
I'll let you know when we're done. No sign of forced entry, no struggle. Wonder where Dolan was that night. 3 women wouldn't open the door to a stranger. George, find out everything you can about the owner of the Mill Valley Lodge. Guy's name is Dolan. D-O-L-A-N. First name Mark. Yeah.
Lisa's suitcase is brand new. More clothes, nicer jewelry.
Well, maybe she worked part-time.
You ever known a 16-year-old to spend money on luggage?
Talked to the groundskeeper, the kitchen staff. Nobody saw anything unusual the morning of the abduction. The lady who runs the kitchen said their car was gone when she got to work around about 6:15.
Who was the last employee to see them?
It was the barkeep. Said they had dinner in the bar. The night before they disappeared, and some biker was talking them off. George faxed this through. It's Edwin James Laws, EJ, a regular with the Mariposa County Sheriff's Office. Barkeep heard him suggesting trails they might want to hike, and he hasn't been heard from or seen since the abduction.
Armed robbery, sale and possession of methamphetamines. Did 3 years for aggravated sexual assault. Attacked a couple of co-eds following an all-night meth binge. A drug that leads to violent, unpredictable outbursts.
Well, until we get an autopsy report from Graves, we don't know what kind of violence, if any, the victims were subjected to.
I want an APB out on Laws and everything Ident Division has on him. George. George.
Yeah. Ident criminal history records is offline for routine servicing, but I should be able to get some information on Laws within the hour.
What did you get on Dolan?
Shaky adolescence. His mother was institutionalized when he was 16. A couple of months after that, he was questioned in a date rape. The act was never consummated, so they didn't pursue any charges, although he did leave some DNA on the victim's clothes.
Get a copy of the lab report. I want the DNA results.
It's coming.
And we don't know that there was a sexual component to these killings.
Well, a sexual component can be associated with the fire he set.
The fires feel more like a sign to me. His satisfaction isn't in the commission of the killings. He wants everyone to know about it.
He wants to be caught?
No, he wants to be noticed, not caught. These are needs that are in strong competition with each other. There might be an element of sibling rivalry. The killer could have his own issues with his brother or sister.
Let me run a family history on Dolan and Laws.
2 sisters close in age, competing for the attention of the same man.
Maybe one of them liked to party more than the other. Went with the guy.
No, I'll check with the father and friends, see if either of the sisters had a history of drug use.
The killer might have been in constant competition with his sibling.
Well, targeting siblings with a similar history.
Mark Dolan has a brother living in New Mexico, a rocket scientist. Literally. Works at Los Alamos. EJ also has a brother, Lawrence Laws, doing 3 years in county for parole violation, also for sexual assault.
When was he picked up?
2 days ago.
So he was out at the time of the murders, with an arrest record that rivals his brother's.
They're drifters, Bailey. Dolan's a fixture, living a constant reminder of his brother's success.
After 8 days, the chances of survival grow slimmer by the minute. I've got border dogs coming in from Seattle. A third body may still be out there.
Take a look at this.
When did this arrive?
The mail, just now.
Dental records confirm the IDs of the charred remains as Ruth and Katie Lassen, which strongly suggests that this poor child is Lisa. Tox screenings revealed an unusually high B-cell count. I've sent for Lisa's medical records to see if she had lymphoma as a child. It's pretty rare. Childhood lymphoma is fatal in about 70% of the cases. She survived it.
Maybe Lisa was treated differently by her family as a result of her brush with death. Was there sexual contact?
Nothing to suggest that it wasn't consensual. Left a lot of DNA. I was going to rule the cause of death in all 3 cases as multiple stabbings, but then I noticed this.
They're not from a knife?
They're from a knife. But the fire should have blackened the marrow as well, and it didn't because the wounds were cauterized. The stabbings were inflicted post-mortem.
They were stabbed after death.
At the base of the neck is uneven, but it was done with a sharp, clean edge. A hunting knife, not a surgical tool, serrated at the hilt. You find the knife, and I will probably be able to make a match.
The stabbings may be an attempt to link 2 separate killings.
The killer only has one target, Lisa. He eliminated the other 2. It's Lisa that's one he took his rage out on.
Drugs may be behind that rage. Lisa had a history of drug use. Katie was a straight arrow. Lisa may have gone with the killer or killers to party.
No, the fires feel more like threat of guilt than destruction. I mean, he's laying his victims down to their final rest. He's cremating the remains. I can't see a lawless gang of bikers feeling remorse.
Well, maybe someone who was with him that night does. EJ's brother's being brought in for questioning. We'll hook up later, Rachel.
Yeah, all right.
Glad I caught you.
Hey. What? Everything all right with Denny?
No, he's fine. We went and looked at apartments.
He hated it.
Oh, he loved it. Backed up toilets, feeling pain, couldn't wait to sign the lease.
What do you expect? It's $550 a month.
A place where drug dealers don't outnumber cops 6 to 1. He tried to act like he didn't notice the activity.
Oh, maybe he did notice the activity.
Rachel. I can't release Danny into that environment.
So what are you saying? What, he can't stay with me? That goes against everything that you and I have been talking about.
That's not what I'm talking about. He's not ready, Rachel.
They think the killer is here in the park.
Have they released a sketch?
I haven't seen one yet.
And who am I supposed to look out for?
Anyone suspicious?
I've been hiking these woods all my life, not letting some nut scare me off.
Where you headed?
Tioga Pass.
Oh, it's nice up there. Do you have any way to defend yourself?
I'll be fine.
Good.
Well, aren't we helpful? Taking care of that little honey. I heard there's some cops up here asking questions.
Yeah, no, just about those women.
What'd you tell them?
Nothing.
You know her? That sweet thing? You'd like to get some of that, wouldn't you? Huh? Not that you know what to do with it.
Where's EJ?
Dead from a knife fight would be fine with me.
So this is a win-win for you, Lawrence. You'll lend a brother you hate for time off, whether he did it or not?
He did it. He did it. He and Garrett Lemon, that waste his skin. See, they did time together in Stockton, and they were burning the pipe, and they were doing shots with them girls, and, you know.
Where's the mom?
I didn't see no mom.
Did you see the attack?
No. But Lumley, he was getting all worked up. You know, he'd been inside for 2.5 years, and he wasn't about to take no for an answer like I need to see that.
Where can we find Lumley?
What do I get? I mean, he moves around a lot, you know. The last time I heard, he had a place in Mariposa. But, that was a long time ago.
Get him out of here. We'll be in touch.
Hey, I told you the whole story.
We've got prints off a tequila bottle at the crime scene.
I said I was there, but I didn't do those
Come on.
girls.
We also got DNA. This guy's a burnout.
3 days in custody, you can still smell the sulfur in his breath. Thank God DNA doesn't lie.
He fits the profile, and he was out at the time. The guy rolling over on his brother is sibling rivalry.
Unless he knows his brother will roll over on him.
George, I need information on the whereabouts on a Garrett Lumley.
You got a county?
Start with Mariposa, work your way out. You doing okay?
I'm hanging in. I'll get this to you right away. I'm sorry, are you still there? Listen, I need you to send them, like, right away. I'm having a little trouble here. I was just stupid to think that I'd be all right.
Was a sexual predator, he would be taking things of femininity, hair, fingers, but he's taken a head. That's a sign of triumph, not sex. And he would have buried it someplace of significance to him.
I got 2 teams of men out there with dogs beating the bushes. Maybe we should shut the park down till we find it.
Closing the park may be giving him what he wants. Anything on Lumley?
I got a P.O. box in Mariposa. I'm still digging.
We still don't know that Laws is with Lumley.
I've got agents canvassing his photo over a 6-state area. Now, Laws did time with the guy. Lumley may be the only person he can trust right now.
Maybe that's the idea of siblings that you're working on, the brotherhood of 2 guys in prison.
The rivalry would have started during childhood. Grace confirmed that Lisa had lymphoma. That would have led to special treatment of a child that they almost lost. Now, if that behavior mimics the killer's childhood, his anger would be directed at Lisa. The stabbings, the beheading. I mean, she's the one that he needs to have triumph over.
And why you like Dolan?
I mean, abandoned emotionally during adolescence. A brother who dropped the family business into Dolan's lap, and then he went on to achieve success, winning the praise of his family.
Those parcels off the liquor bottles match Lumley and both brothers.
That still only suggests that the killer knew that the partying was going on out there, and he's using that to throw off our investigation.
Like the knife wounds.
I've got an address on Lumley. I traced the owner of the P.O. box to an address just outside of town. 23 North Overland.
That's deep wood back there.
I'll need backup from some of you men. Can't read the dad. It's a shovelhead. Same type of bike driven by Laws. John, take a unit and hold position at the rear of the cabin, in case they run.
The county incorporated Overland in 1998.
Cease fire!
Flank him, John. I'll cover you. Who the hell is in there?
Occupant's name is Cecil Young. He made ATF's shortlist last year. Bailey, I'm sorry.
Get your hands on your head. Move in! Get him on your head!
A dozen Frankie Mac 12s, 11 MK6s, 7 AR 180s, 5 Tech 9s, and a pearl-handled Chinese repeater. Must have been hell trying to decide which one to use.
A shootout with an anti-government extremist.
He fired on federal agents during the course of an investigation.
An investigation into the wrong person.
It was a justifiable act of force. The suspect will be booked and charged with assault with a deadly weapon, assaulting a federal officer, and attempted murder.
None of which would have happened if you'd had the right house.
I can't argue the mistake.
This is no time to be making them. Now, who's responsible, Bailey?
It's my team.
Don't do this. Someone needs to answer for this. After Ruby Ridge,
This is
Washington
not Ruby Ridge. And I will not let the misguided beliefs of a gun-hoarding anti-government fanatic turn this into a witch hunt against the VCTF. The responsibility begins and ends with me.
Bailey, I made a connection between Laws and Mark Dolan. They were in this juvenile camp together when Mark was 15. It was a mistake.
My mistake. I let personal feelings impair my judgment. You were unfit for duty. I need your badge and your gun.
Oh, God.
Your badge and your gun, George. You're relieved of duty pending a fitness for duty physical by a bureau physician, subject to a board review.
Mark Dolan spent 6 months in youth camp in lieu of prosecution.
A guy like Laws would have bounced Dolan around like a technical double.
Yeah, what it sounds like you did. Disorderly conduct, fighting, moral misconduct, humiliation at that point of his sexual development, caused deep emotional scarring and a lifetime of rage.
Maybe Dolan sent the postcard to get back at Laws, anonymously.
Or Dolan committed the acts himself, overcompensating for his sexual humiliations, knowing we'd suspect Laws. It's time to talk to Dolan.
Let's see if I can't get a 20.
Bailey, George lied to all of us.
I should have seen it.
Yeah, I should have seen it in Danny, but I didn't. Because I love him.
Ensuring the safety of this unit is part of my job. I failed to do that.
Bailey.
We could have lost lives out there.
We didn't.
I know what you're doing, Rachel, and I appreciate it. But the reason I feel responsible for George is because I am.
How did it sit with the congresswoman?
Oh, it didn't. Shortest romance in history.
Well, maybe not. It's all right. I'm tired anyway.
You're never tired.
Good night.
Am I breaking something up? Grey Goose up, very dry, olives. I owe you an apology. Man with your record of service doesn't need a lecture from me. 2 tours in Vietnam, the highest FBI entrance exam in 20 years. Unit chief with a GS-15 rating before 40. Thank you. You like your suits tailor-made, your Scotch single malt, and your operas Italian.
That's a hell of a staff you've got.
They make me look good. This afternoon made me realize just how easy it is to intellectualize what you do. That guy was a powder keg ready to go off. One of thousands, I'm sure. You're outmanned and underfunded. I want to give you a name. Russell Wheatley.
Spin doctor.
A forensic accountant. Russ made my bill on public schools look like the best deal since Seward's purchase of Alaska. Plan on spending time with me in Washington. I want to show your face around town.
I know Washington pretty well.
Not my Washington.
Yeah, I can have it to you in about 3 hours. Will that work?
Yeah.
All right.
The killer's sibling was missing for a while, in a coma or a runaway. In his return, robbed the killer of his parents' affections.
Thanks. We'll see if that applies to any of our suspects. Malone.
Campers found the body. Jane Weston, 28, works for Park Services.
Out on display where he knew she'd be found quickly.
Last seen at the lodge store with the day's provisions. Still no 20 on Dolan.
There was an abandoned campfire about a half a mile from here. Obviously disturbed. They found this.
Mark Dolan.
If Dolan's not at the lodge, I don't know where he'd be this time of day. I'll get right out there.
You never got to tell me to my face. I mean, I had to hear it from him.
Look, Danny, I wanted to tell you myself, but I'm out of town.
Right. What, having a life? I mean, I'm stuck in this with all these freaks and losers.
Dr. Arquette is making the best decisions that he can for you.
Look, this is not for me, Rachel. This is for you. And don't Dr. Arquette me, okay? I know what the two of you are doing.
Danny.
Look, he is my therapist, Rachel. Guy I've been spilling my guts to for the past 6 weeks, and you're sleeping with him.
No, it's not like that. It's just something that happened.
Something that... What? What, did you just get together to talk about me and accidentally fall into bed?
No, we do not talk about your therapy. That would be unethical.
This is a joke. You know, you stole him from me, just like you've taken every chance I've ever had to do anything with my life.
Danny.
Yeah, look, I'm never gonna trust either one of you ever again.
Danny.
Preliminary autopsy revealed no sexual contact with the latest victim. No fire. No attempt to tell us where to find the body.
An employee at the lodge confirmed the sheath was Dolan's. The size knife it holds is consistent with the wounds from Grace's autopsy.
Where are we on Dolan?
His truck's missing. Cash register was emptied out. I put agents on his property around the clock. The sheriff's department is conducting a 3-county manhunt.
Extended to 6.
But if he's on foot and knows the park, he could stay lost inside for weeks.
We might be better off loosening our grip on the park. Get him running on the outside so someone could recognize him. A review of the suspect's background revealed no incidents of runaway or missing siblings. And none of the suspect's siblings suffered any long-term illnesses.
Maybe the siblings part of the profile is wrong.
Well, the profile's right, and he doesn't like how wrong we are. His first killing was emotional, and then very calculated as he went back over his steps, confusing evidence, trying to throw us off. But this last one, it was premeditated. It was almost out of anger.
Anger at who?
At us. Cops, law enforcement.
For not catching him.
For not knowing who he is. I want to go back to the cabin.
It was like Katie didn't exist. You don't know how that feels. To be invisible to your own mother.
It happened to you. To your brother, didn't it? Hicks, that's not your real name, is it?
Hitchcock.
Jason and Wayne Hitchcock.
They made a TV movie about us. About Jason. And I changed my name when I went away to school. I hated people knowing I was that Hitchcock. Always asking me about him.
No matches on any suspect. Thanks, Gracie. DNA didn't match any of them.
I think they call this square one. Garrett Lumley was picked up in Spokane, claims he hasn't seen Laws in 2 months.
Where the hell is Dolan?
I'll see where Hicks is on that.
Johnny was supposed to set me free. And you cleared it up for me.
You cleared it up yourself when you killed Jane Weston. You wanted recognition and attention.
Oh, you were going nowhere.
That's exactly where you wanted us to go. Don't blame her death on us.
No! Don't you? You are to blame. You are all to blame. You are powerless to stop people like me. You saved my brother from abduction. You are powerless. Oh, you saved him in the movie. But that's not really how it ended.
He saved himself. He escaped.
He came back after 7 years. I couldn't stand the way Lisa looked at me. Even dead, Lisa had this special air about her. You know, she really wasn't that special. Katie was much more animated and alive. She was asking questions about the park. We had quite a little talk while her mom and Lisa were off picking flowers. You know, where they were from and where they were staying. Why her mother had always shown Lisa more affection. I felt bad about Katie.
Not about them. They were stealing your thunder.
Lost, maybe. But Dolan was an idiot. I called to tell him he was under suspicion, that I would help him out. He came right to me.
Now you're ready to take the credit.
Well, it's really only important that you know, Agent Burke.
No answer from Hicks. Rachel's MIA.
Coincidence that doesn't sit well with me. Why would you go with Hicks without telling us?
Maybe this is why.
Hitchcock. Hicks, son of a bitch, has got Rachel.
Where?
Mobilize Park Services.
You don't know what it was like to watch your parents grieve, to cling to you for support, and then to have it all just snatched out from under you. I didn't want it to end so quick, but I guess you've seen enough. Still breathing.
You okay?
Yeah.
Got a man down.
Let's get you out.
Oh.
Yeah, Hicks is going to make a full recovery. Case will probably go before a judge at the end of the summer. We'll transmit our files so you can prepare for trial.